of Hindemith in Der Schwanendreher, the use of hemiola in Brahms quartets, and you're like, oh my God, your head just explodes. And these are just fun exercises. I have my notes over here, so I just don't want to skip anything. I mean, like, we're going to do a lot of different exercises, and if I stretch your hand in any way, I think that's good. But if your hand hurts, quit, stop, don't. I mean, you'll know the difference between your hand feeling some pain or just stretching very well. So I wanted to say something along those lines. And then the other thing before we get into the first exercise, I did a joy of practice about 1.5 years ago, right, Daria? And I had one lady in the audience who's having a marvelous time, and she, in the middle of the conversation, we were having question and answer kind of thing, and she said, well, you know, I think she said, I'm a visual learner, so a lot of these things don't work very well for me, and so I just took that as a good comment. But anyway, maybe she wasn't getting much out of it. But the point is that about 3 weeks later, she emailed me and she says, Dr. Tom, I had an intractable problem with a piece I was working on, and I couldn't for the life of me, and I've been working on it for a long time, couldn't figure it out, and it never worked. And I used one of your little techniques, and it worked like a charm. So the point of this is that there may be some things in here that you've done before, that's not new to you, but there's something in here for everybody. So if you get some new insight or new technique, new way to go about doing things, just 1 or 2 little things will make this time that we spend together valuable. Now, the first game that we'll play, I call Speed Etude. And it's learning all those fast passages, those runs that crop up in all the places. I mean, we just talked about Walton and the Bartok. They're all over that, and then the Hindemith. And this is a good way to get your fingers to be speedy and nimble and accurate. I mean, I think because I think Daria and some other people asked me to do some examples of things. I'm just trying to adjusting my chair. No, that's all right. Just take it off. Anyway, I remembered that wonderful passage it's in the second line of Sweet or Break, the Rhapsody movement, and it runs of. And how do you go about learning that so that the fingers are accurate and make those the E flats and the F sharps and everything in that run and make them come out clear? So we're going to do that, and I have my students do it, and it's called Speed Etude. And we're going to do it not on that run, but on say an A flat scale. Why don't we all play an A flat? So, well, can we tune? Daria, do you have a good A? That work for everybody? Can you hear that? Good, good. It's always a good thing to tune. Now we're going to make some noises today, so then not of it's going to be really really beautiful. Maybe tuning doesn't matter, but of course it does. So let's play an A flat scale, and just go from the first finger on the G string, and just play it nice and slow. Okay, now I'm going to play, then you're going to follow me. I won't play while you're playing because your fingers may be moving faster or slower than mine. So let's just echo what I do. I'm going to start on that A flat, and I'm going to play 4 of them. Your turn. Now I'm going to go to the B flat. Your turn. Now to the C. Now to the D flat. Here's where it gets interesting. We're going to go to the E flat. Your turn. Just go right ahead and follow me. When you're done, I'll go to the F. Your turn. To the C. Good. Now the E flat. How you doing down there, Rebecca? You all right? Oh, there's Susan. She hasn't checked in yet. Okay, we're going to go on and do a little bit more with it. We're going to start at the A flat and just
Tom, I have a request, please.
Sure.
Your scroll is out of the screen.
Oh, okay.
If you can either move back or move to your right a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. How about this? Is that better?
About another 6 inches back.
That better? Okay. Everybody follow me. I can't tell if you're doing it. And we're just going down that scale. D flat. As we're considering from E flat. The F. Super. Now the C. Now the A flat. Now, I'm going to do it another way. Your turn. A flat up on the 4th finger, D string. Let's come down. D flat to the C. To the F. To the E flat. Now to the D flat. Now to the G. I'm going to C. And the B flat. And finally to the A flat. Can you see my fingers, Harry? Now, one last way. Now from the C. From the F. Now from the E flat. D flat. C. B flat. Now the A flat. I guarantee you when you run into those passages with a whole bunch of notes and it looks like hemi-dimmy semi-quivers or something on it, and you have 14 notes to go on one beat from down, from going either up or down, and if you practice it that way, it'll be mastered rather quickly. Otherwise, there's all kinds of problems with trying to do with a metronome or whatever, the often odd number notes or odd, you know. So that's a wonderful technique that I've used for many years. Our next exercise is I call the octave exercise. It's It's a way to do those long distance shifts and to practice them and to get your hand to go up and down so that you're, there's a, and again, those wonderful, there's a lot of examples. There's some really scary shifts in the Bartok and the Walton, particularly in the third movement. I remember nightmares having that. I can see it right now. It's the second line on the fourth page or the third page of the third movement of the Walton. But I thought maybe I wouldn't do that one right now. I would do just something that we all know probably. I just recorded for church because we're meeting virtually. And so I play every once in a while. I'm a pianist, and there's some vocalists that sing, and we all kind of contribute to the church. But I played the meditation, and you'll all remember this spot. And so we're going to practice some shifts, and we're going to do long distance shifts. We're going to start on, say, let's do the A string, start on the B. And I'll go with you on this one. We don't have to do anything fast. B to B with first finger. Whoops, I'm sorry. I got to start again because the leader messed up. Okay, B to B. Okay, now B to B, go into second finger. Now do it with third finger. And you got it? Now fourth finger. Now we're going to go from B to C sharp. Do it with me. 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, and 1 to 4. Now we're going to go to D sharp. Do it with me. Now with second finger, we're going up with using the finger we're going to. So I'm coming up, Harry, can you see this? I'm coming up that way. All right, that way. I'm going to go from B to D sharp with a second finger. And do a little wiggle on the top if you'd like. Now B to C, D sharp on the third finger. Now fourth finger. Now let's go to B to E. Ready? Now with second finger. Now with third finger. Now with fourth finger. Now, my teacher had me do these. It wasn't like, I think it was when I'm working on my doctorate, and he had me go up chromatically, which made it really tough because you have to, it's a kind of ear training thing. Now, the strings that define our viola and the quality of our viola are and same thing with violin, the outer strings, the A string and the C string for us. Rarely do we go up to higher than fourth or fifth position on the middle strings, the D or the G. So the thing to do now is to work on, and you think of the violinist doing the revel second, going up the G string, but we don't go that far. Let's try these same exercises on the C string. Okay, you're going to start at first finger D and go up to the D. Okay, shall we do that? Now do it with second finger. Now third finger. Now fourth finger. Now let's go up to E. I mean, well, to where are my D, C? Yeah. E. And now with second finger. And now with third finger. Now with fourth finger. Now to F sharp. With second finger, third finger. And with fourth finger. Now let's go up to G. Yeah, good. Good job, Marta. How's your hand feel? You all right? Okay, well, stop. Well, I'll go up with fourth finger now. Now, it's all right. If it hurts, don't go any farther. And I guarantee you, if you do this a little bit and add, you didn't warm up on these exercises before I came, so you didn't know what I was going to do. Well, let's go up on the fourth finger. We're going to go up from D to G, and that completes the cycle. Good. Now, that's, and again, you can go up higher. I know there's a lot of passages in some of our repertoire that on the A string goes up really high. I mean, and that's fine. And if you're doing that kind of literature, you need to have those skills. But if you're not doing that kind of repertoire, then maybe not necessary. So you can add range to it, and you can also do it dramatically if you're so inclined. But that's a shift from first finger using the finger that you are going to. Now, if you go back to the 30s, 40s, Tertis, Chrysler, Elman, they would go up on their the finger they're on and land. So if I did it on the A string, it would be first finger to the B, but it would sound like this. You see the difference between? Yeah, let's do a few of those. That kind of shift, if I did that passage in the Massenet again, I naturally would go up with the finger I'm going to. But if I did it, it would be the other way. Does that make sense to you? Just, I have a bunch of quizzical looks. David, you all right? Yeah, all right. Well, let's try some anyway. We're going to go up with the finger we're on. So we're just going to do it with the first finger. So we're going to go from the first finger B, and we're going to slide up with first finger and land on B with the second finger. No sense in doing with the first finger. We've already done that. So, okay, try that. Try going from first finger to third finger using the first finger to slide with. And the fourth finger. There's lots of places in our repertoire that kind of shift might be appropriate. So you can do those on the C string also. By the way, those kind of shifts, if you're breaking in a new string, you just put on a G string or a C string or D string, even an A string, but they don't stretch that much. If you do those little shifting exercises, that stretches out the string in less than 5 minutes, and rather than sitting there and letting it and tuning it every time you pick up your instrument. So those are a couple hints along those lines.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Would you say that last style was about emphasizing the yodel? That's what I'm calling it. Emphasizing the break.
I'm not quite sure, Harry,
if you keep the same finger, you can do it perfectly smoothly. If you do switch fingers, it seems like you're emphasizing that, like a singer emphasizing the break.
The shifting styles changed dramatically in the late 40s and early 50s with Heifetz and Francescatti and those players that shifted away from sliding all over the instrument like Chrysler. I shouldn't put it that way because it's a beautiful style. Misha Elman is one of my favorite violinists. Listening to some of there's some old re-recordings of his playing, and of course the Turtis examples that we have, and they emphasize the shift. But the thing that you can do with the shift going to the finger you're going to, you can almost eliminate the slide. You can do as much portamento or slide as you want. Or does that make sense? With you, when you, yes, Derek. Oh, I think, okay.
Yeah, I think I've heard of those, the two different kinds of shifts as Russian or French.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can never keep straight which one is which. I
Yeah.
think it's different expressive ideas.
Sure.
And then the other thing I would love for you to clarify, well, actually two things. When you're doing that, the shifting, right now it feels like we're just going for the pitch. But would you recommend that people also slow down and know exactly what position they're going to? Because when we go, say for the B with the fourth finger, we're in fifth position, whereas
right. Yeah, you can do that. I don't normally think of it that way. I think of it more of a shifting exercise. But yeah, that's important information to have, but I couldn't give it to you right now because I don't normally think of them that way. I think of finding the musical essence of what I want to say, just the right amount of portamento or the right amount of the audible shift that I want to put into a piece of music, and my fingerings that I use are based almost entirely on where I've been and where I'm going, and not rather positions.
Okay.
I mean, by the time my teacher got me past first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, we just forgot positions. So, I don't think that way anymore. I know when I'm teaching youngsters, knowing where you are on that fingerboard and blocking it off is really very important. But then the next step is to eliminate that.
Sure.
So you're not dealing with, oh, I'm going to go to fifth position. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, that makes sense. And then one other thing is which, and this is always a bit fuzzy for me too, is bow you're going on, which bow you're shifting on, the old bow or the new bow, and as well as the old finger, new finger.
Yeah, right. Well, it all depends upon, for me, the musical circumstance. I'm a great experimenter. I'll play around with a passage that somehow I'm not satisfied with in my own playing, and I'll play around with it until with the fingerings, the bowings, the amount of shift, or whether I do a shift at all, depending upon what's not only possible, but what's doable. And then I can work in a lot of different ways. And when I settle on something, I'll certainly mark it in. But the funny thing is that when I settle on a particular shift and I've experimented with or we're talking shifts now, but fingering or whatever it is, once I've decided that is the right way for me to express this passage, then it becomes really very solid and confident and true for that time. But I have gone through the Bach suites a number of times. I recorded them back 10 years ago, and I'm in my COVID-19 project is to memorize at least the preludes. But I'm using different bowings and because I've changed things. The Bach isn't the same today as it was in 2008 or 2009. So we changed. So there, I don't think there's anything so submitted in and etched in granite that can't be changed. But you need to have the tools to explore these things, and that's what we're doing today. Some tools, I think. Does that make sense to everybody? How you doing, Kevin? That's a great picture of the Golden Gate Bridge behind you.
Oh, that's just a background default. That's just a default from Zoom.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'd like to go on to, if there's some other questions or we can do something again, please, all you wonderful viola players, you set the tempo of this session. Are we all right? David, you're on. Well, you have a wonderful smile. Okay. I think most of us have done one-fingered scales, and we're going to do a one-fingered scale. In conjunction with what I was talking about before with experimenting with things, violists do a lot of experimenting with hand contractions and expansions and shifting in different ways and different fingerings. Primrose, of course, emphasized that when he was teaching his students, and I was not one of his students, but he did all the major and minor scales, and each one starting out a different finger. So you did an E scale starting at first finger, second finger, third finger, and so you just really got to know the fingerboard. And it's because violists use a lot of what I would say creative experimenting with fingers and shifting and contractions and extensions of fingers. Whereas violinists often don't need to do those kind of things. Their fingerboard is so much smaller. The distance between the stringers is so much more comfortable and accommodating. So we do a lot of this stuff. So, but one finger scales is going to lead us to the bow rocker exercise that Daria likes so much. So, can we do, just play with me. Well, I'll do an E major scale on the D string using just first finger. Can we do that just all together? We don't have to do it fast. Is that all right? Are you doing okay? I like, every time I play something in a rehearsal or something that's out of tune or something out of whack, I always look at my viola and like pretend like it's the viola's fault, you know? And so Harry's looking at his viola and says, oh my God, it must be the viola. No, it's us. Let's do the E major scale. All on one first finger. Repeat the top note. Everybody okay with that? Okay, nod your head. Thank you, Rebecca. Now, let's start on first finger, but we'll go up on second. So it's going to be 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Repeat the top note. That'll be important when we're doing the next exercise. Let's do E, second finger, third finger, or second finger, second finger, second finger, second finger. Repeat it. Now let's use third finger. Third finger, third finger, third finger, third finger, third finger. Repeat. And fourth finger. How many people have done this exercise before? Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Susanna. Well, hi. I got your picture. That's Sue Hall. Good to see you. Yeah, well, you probably did it with me or with Tom or Tom Heimberg or somebody. Let's do the fourth finger. 4, 4, 4, 4. Repeat it. That's an excellent exercise to strengthen that fourth finger and get it to vibrate wonderfully with the other fingers. So we're going to go on to the bow rocker exercise. I don't want to run out of time. It's really not. It's not important that you master each one of these techniques, but that you have a good idea of what they're for and how they work, and what's important about them. The bow rocker is based on the fact that we need to know the distance between the strings. How far is it? And put your bow up around the balance point and rock it back and forth between the D and the A. And just get a feel for how far that is between the D string, the G string, and the A string. Now try it at the tip. Right. See the distance and the arc in your right arm? Do it at the frog. Much easier, and you're much easier to use. Yes, Sherry, you're using those fingers so well. All right. Try that same thing. Just experiment. Figure out the feel of where you are. Do it over the fingerboard. And then closer to the bridge. You see you have much more resistance up here, and down here the strings are supple, and so that's when we go up into higher positions, we automatically move the bow up closer to the bridge, so we have that resistance and that space between the strings. So yeah, I was told by Katie to give musical examples, and I was thinking, this is knowing where you are in the string, what your bow can do, and the distance between the strings, either just doing it by feel or scientifically go about it. So important in all the Bach suites, for example. So it's important for us to know where our bow is, where it is on the string when we play, say, the prelude to the first suite. I didn't do that very well, but you get the idea. And all the way through those Bach suites, even say going to the sixth suite. All of that going between the strings, so important to know where you are. Now, Daria, I'm sure there's a scientific way to go about doing this, but I never figured that out. It's all by repetition and feel, so I know where I am, and I'm not hitting other strings. Now we're going to hit other strings, and we're going to do a little exercise we call the bow rocker, and we're going to do some different things. So I'm going to set the metronome at 100, for example. Can you all hear that? Okay, good. So let's do that one finger scale. Maybe just use, yeah, let's use second finger. So we're going to go E, second finger F sharp, and go up with the second finger. And then I'll demonstrate one. So we'll do eighths and then sixteenths. Well, I said second finger, didn't I? Sixteenths. Can we do that? All right. Can you hear the metronome all right? Good, super. Ready, play. You need to be, notice how that wrist is, oh, shut up, metronome. That wrist is, look at my wrist as I'm doing it. That's that motion there. And we want to emphasize that motion. Well, it's an up and down motion. But I'll show you some more sophisticated ways of looking at it once we've done this. All right, but make sure that your wrist and your fingers are supple and flexible so that they. Oh, what's up? See it, Harry? Can you see? Okay. Let's try that scale again. We're going to go first finger E, then the second finger F sharp, and we'll go up the second finger. I'm tired of first finger. All right, ready, play. No, these are eighth notes. One more time. Ready, eighth and then 16th. Ready, play. And then you can come down, and that would be wonderful. Did we all do that? Are we okay? Are we okay with that? All right. Let's try. Can you see me? Can't see my hand. I'll hold the instrument up a little higher. Let's throw in some triplets. Most of all the techniques that string players have to master, rhythm is the hardest. Band people have rhythms down you wouldn't believe. And I think it's because they march. But string players, if you lined up 100 viola players in San Francisco and ask them what is their weakest facet of their playing, and a lot of them might say rhythm if they were honest. But you really can't play in a symphony or a quartet, any kind of ensemble music at all, without having a really solid sense of rhythm. So going from duplets, triplets, and then sixteenths is a way of doing that. Shall we try that? And it'll sound like this. And I'll try to go second finger. David saw me. I said, let's do second finger, and then I did first all the way up. And I changed about halfway up. So that's all right. So. Okay, you with me? You use any figure you want, because we're not going to do. I think it was Barry Green do this on bass, because they have even more space between their strings. This is a crucial exercise for bass players. And he had a seminar, and he did this for a whole half hour and went up and down the strings doing rhythms and just these exercises. But today we're just going to do this simple thing. So it's going to be duplets, triplets, and sixteenths. All right, ready, play. Whoa! Teacher messed up again. No, David, don't laugh. All right, let's try it again. I'll get this straight. Ready, play. Triplets. Eights, triplets. If you're hitting other strings, that's just fine. As you do this exercise on your own time and your own in your own time, with your own practice, if you care to do something like this to elevate your flexibility in your wrist and fingers, you'll soon get to where you know more exactly where the difference is on your strings. And if you get closer to the bridge, you'll hit less strings less often. So, okay, now.
Could you explain something, please?
Sure.
I don't get the connection between what you're doing and bow rocking that you demonstrated before.
Run this by me again, Harry.
I don't understand how what you just did connects to the concept of bow rocking, which you demonstrated before, different parts of the bow.
I'm going back and forth on the strings on those exercises. from the D string side of the G string to the A string side of the D string, going back and forth.
Okay.
You'll find I have done, not this year at all, a lot of judging. And it is really one of those interesting things where you see youngsters moving just enormous amounts of bow. They look like a one-armed, one-winged bird trying to take off, and they're using so much effort. Then I put the strings up on the board, just circles, and you know your A string's the lowest string. It's low, and it's an arc, and so I show them that when you make that string crossing, if you're going to go from the D to the A string, you ought to be really on the A string side of the D string before you get to the A string. And sometimes they look at me like you're looking at me. But it's important to know where you are on those, in the continuum that you have between this space between you have and height you have of the strings. Does that help you, Harry? Maybe not. Okay, we're going to do something that'll be quite interesting.
Got it.
Yeah, we're going to do something with this exercise that'll be quite interesting. I'm going to move the speed up. I've got 100. Let me do it 100. Let me do it 120. And let's eliminate the triplets because I always get confused and I get lost in it. So, but what I want you to do is I want you to concentrate when you're playing on what's happening with the wood of the bow. If you're doing this motion here, and when you're doing it slow, Harry, the slower you do it, the more the hand moves in a circular fashion. But as you speed up the bow, look what happens with the hand and the wood. I don't think you can be able to see my stick as I'm playing it. But the more circular, it's becomes a more up and down motion. Try it and just concentrate on what's happening to the stick and your hand as you go up, and use that. Let's use the first finger. You were doing the same scale. Is that all right? Ready, play. Okay. If I go faster, you don't have to join me, but maybe you can see what happens with my bow and what kind of bow stroke this turns out to be. What's happening? All of a sudden, I'm getting a rather fast staccato stroke. And if we go a little faster, it turns out to be a sautillé. So it's the kind of way when you're working that wrist. Questions? Yeah, I didn't intend to go so deep into each one of these techniques that we've totally mastered the process and that technique, but just introduce you to them, and so that you can experiment with at home the ones that appeal to you and that you can use a little bit. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Well, I just have 6 minutes or so to do my last exercise. It's called the bow stretcher, and it's let me put it to you bluntly, it's boring as hell, but it's really a wonderful way to learn how to use and control the speed of your bow. I did it mostly with groups of students or groups of people. In a clinic, for example, it might be adults like yourselves, but I did a lot with students, and it's kind of fun because we're going to go back to 100. I got only a little bit of time left, and maybe you've done this one before too. And we're going to play 4 quarter notes, and we're going to add a quarter note to every time at each iteration. So, and we're going to go from frog to tip. Those are the that's the criteria. To go from frog to tip. So you go 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 4. We'll go up to 10. It is really wonderful to do this with a group of young people, because at first the control of their bow on the quarter notes, the first one's a repetition, is a little awkward and thin a little bit maybe. But by the time they get back down, when you go up to 10, you can go to 12 or 15. You can really stretch your arm. I learned this one from Tom Heimberg. He did this many, many years ago. And like I said, I thought it was pretty boring, but very valuable. So let's try. Okay, we're going to go quarter notes, and we're going to add then we'll do half notes, and then dotted half notes, and quarter notes, and our whole notes, and then 5 beats, 6 beats. We'll go up to 10, and when we get to 10, we're going to come on back down. So we're going to slow down our bow with each additional beat, and then as we subtract the beats, the speed of the bow hand will increase. So again, this is mostly feel. It's how you feel, how your bow. It's really funny how you need to find adjustments in where you are in the bow for the next passage is coming up. And having some control over this is really very handy. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 beats. 1, 2, 4. 3 beats. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4 beats. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 beats. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 beats. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. I have more problems than I know how to deal with. Let's start at 10, work our way down. I think I did 8 twice. So what's fun about this exercise when you do it with groups, if we could all hear, is to change, to do it in chords, 1, 4, 5, 1, or 1, 5, 1, 4, 5, 7, 1, some kind of chordal structure. And what I've discovered, Angela, is that when you're having a good time with this, you oftentimes discover the mystery chord, and somebody forgot to change their note. And if everybody laughs and has a good time with it, then it's less boring. So let's start at 10 and work our way down to 1, because I'm actually running out of time. Let's try this again. We're going to start at 10 and work our way down to 1 and see how that works, and see if the instructor here can manage to keep up with you guys. Ready? Play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 5. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Reminds me of the 12 days of Christmas. But And like I said, you can do lots of different things with this with groups of people. If we were all in a room together, I'd have a chalkboard up, and we could assign note changes so that we could play some chords and discover the mystery chord. That's my presentation, Daria.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was really fun. And let's all give you a round of applause.
Well, I really do think that using the adjective fun with my presentation here today doesn't near match it as Cookies did last week, which was truly joyous. So, but anyway, I thought I was asked to do this, and I thought that could fit in an hour, and it looked like it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess, first of all, that people have some questions, but
Sure.
I'm also gonna guess that people would like to see this in like a handout so that they had some kind of a reminder. I can make the recording available to those of you who are here, but it would be nice to have either a transcript or something where we just kind of give
Um,
brief